Afternoon, everybody. Christian here. Today I want to share something with you. I was reading through the Word and ran across Psalms 92, verse, where was it? 6, okay? Half of verse 6. It says, "A senseless man has no knowledge." I got to thinking about that. Thinking in this terms of the five senses, right? So if you have no knowledge, your senses won't actually have any value to you. You could be standing at a wall looking at a door, and if you don't know what a door is, if you don't have knowledge of a door, you could feel absolutely trapped and helpless, even though there's a door right in front of you, right? I've often given this example where you could have two people, one with an education and one without, walk through the front door of the New York Stock Exchange. One person will end up in the New York Stock Exchange, the other person will end up in Las Vegas. The difference being simply knowledge, okay? And I want to talk about that a little bit today because since this person is without knowledge, that means that if you increase your knowledge, you hone your senses, all right? So that's something that we as Christians should be pursuing diligently. The Word tells you to do that, you know, it tells you to search for it, you would for silver and gold. It also says in Proverbs chapter 19, verse 2, in the New International Version, it says, "Desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way?" Okay? So I want you to think about that. I talked about how God will not promote you in another video I shared with you, that God will not promote you without first giving you understanding, okay? And I showed you the verse about that. But it's important to take note that whenever He gives you a promise of the future, He says, "I'm going to take you to the promised land," He will educate you along the way, right? So that when you get to the promised land, you can actually use it and it won't crush you, so to speak. And it's something to consider. A lot of times we focus so much on the end that we maybe even drag our feet and miss the path because we are being hasty. And it's important that you take the time on a journey to build that knowledge base that you're going to need when you get there, okay? So I just wanted to share it with you and ask you, what are you doing to increase that knowledge that you're going to need in the future? As you guys know, I'm really big on reading. I read the Word, read other books as well. I spend time in prayer, and I just take a little bit. It doesn't have to be hours and hours every day. Just a little bit every single day, you know, like a drop in a bucket. Over time, you're going to fill that bucket with plenty to spare. So it's important that you use that time that you have now to prepare for what's coming down the road. I know there's some people who get in this concept, and I think I dealt with it before when I was a newer Christian, and I've seen other people deal with it. You might hear people say, "Well, I only read this particular translation because it's trustworthy. I don't read the other translations." I've heard people say that, and I at one point was that way. It was like, you know, if it wasn't the King James Version, I wasn't going to bother with it. But after a while, I got comfortable with, I knew the Word. I didn't feel like God was going to let me get deceived. So I was able to read other translations, and I got a great deal out of that. I also branched out beyond that and started reading various other books. Now, you're going to run across a lot more error in other books, but you kind of take the parts that are meat, and then you discard the bones, kind of thing, you know, the parts that really the Holy Spirit brings out and shows you the biblical principle behind it. I keep that, and the parts that don't, I just discard them. But because I keep doing this and keep doing it for years and years, I've actually gained a great deal of wealth internally, right, in the heart and the mind, that you can't see on the outside so much unless you're perhaps speaking to somebody, but it's something that's prepared me for where I'm going. And like I said in a previous video, without understanding, you won't be exalted. So don't skip over the daily work of building the knowledge base that you require, okay? And for those of you who think that you can only read from the Bible, I ask you, what were people reading before Moses? Okay, there's just some poor logic there that should be addressed, okay? God bless, take care, and I will see you in the next one.